Hey, everybody. Welcome back to another round. We are here with some spoilers, movie reviews, and all that goodness and that jazz or whatnot. So please come on in. Thank you guys for being here. I hope you guys have went and seen this movie already. I've given you guys enough time. Hey, I give you enough time to go see this movie. I hope you've seen it already because I'm finally ready to really talk about this movie. Okay. And it's been hell and high water seeing on all of my thoughts for a week now. Literally, it's been a week. Okay. I went last Thursday to see it. I haven't went for the second time to see it yet, but I definitely plan on doing it because I want to enjoy it in IMAX. I didn't see it in IMAX. I just seen it in Dolby theater. So that means that I had the great sound that moves your body and all those wonderful things. So I'm glad you guys are here with me. Happy Thursday to you all. Blessings, peace, and all of those wonderful things. And I hope you guys have supported this movie, really, whether you feel good about it, bad about it, or indifferent. We are here. We're going to talk about it because, that's what we do. And I like to say this off jump. I think this movie is like the rest of his movies, a good talking point discussion. It has a lot of nuances to it, a lot of things that take place and go on that we can talk about and have different perspectives, opinions for days. And like I said, whether you love the movie or hated it, you didn't get enough of it, you didn't get enough from it, there's so much that talk about that we can dissect through this whole movie. So here we are today. We're going to break down just a little bit of it. I'm going to do probably like some small particular breakdowns on everybody, each particular character from what I got from it, especially after I see it the second time. But this is just my first opinion, first general look at it, first overall. And I'm going to see how close to Jordan's mind I get with this. Okay, you guys, y'all got to stay with me a little bit, especially if you haven't seen it. I hope you have. Let me get my notes up and ready. But and funny, I was in the movie theater taking notes. Like I ain't even enjoy the movie the way I want to enjoy it. So that's why I definitely got to go back and see it again. But thank you guys for being here. So the movie starts off with the scripture. It is Nahum 3:6. And the scripture states, I'm going to go ahead and play this again real quick. The scripture states that I will throw filth on you and make you despicable. I will make a spectacle of you. Mm-hmm. So that's how basically the movie starts off with that scripture. It blows by so fast that you almost didn't read it and stuff. And so I have to thank some other reviewers who caught it because I didn't catch it all the way on the first time. I was just like, what? I'm trying to read it and I'm trying to figure it out. But if you know that passage, that is a judgment that was placed upon the, now I'm going to say the wrong city now, but it was placed upon a group. Hold on, I'm going to bring it back up. It was placed upon the freaking ace. I had it and I didn't write it in my notes. So y'all forgive me for this because I am terrible. I should have had this in my notes all this time and I didn't. Nivea. So it was placed upon them. And so basically, they were out here just doing horrendous crimes, committing bloodsheds. They were just pillaging and ravaging the people, nations, and things. And so this judgment was passed upon them. And, if you know, the first thing that they had actually said, they basically gave their sorries, got back in good favor with God, and then turned around and started doing the same things years later. So of course the judgment still stood. So this is much like life when we do a lot of things where we're sorry, we're gonna do this or whatever, and yet we turn around and do the same thing all over again, and even act worse later on. So of course sometimes our judgments in life still stands as is, that we're going to get what's coming to us, i.e. karma, anyways, the movie moves on. And so the opening scene that we get is like one of my best scenes, but everybody I have noticed and I've talked to, they cannot relate this scene to anything. And this scene had me in a maze. And the first thing I noticed, if you guys had watched the movie, you probably noticed it too, is after you enter into what they would title later on as Gordy's home. It was his TV sitcom. We see that there's this ape that is all bloodied up. He's looking kind of frustrated and confused. But there was this one shoe that to this day I still have not figured out why this is happening. And so the shoe is basically standing up on its own. And I wrote down in my notes ballet style, but technically it's reverse ballet style because it was standing on its heel. And literally it's standing facing the persons who it belonged to, with one dot on it. So I have like a little revelation of what that might resemble, especially if it goes to Hollywood later on, especially because it is a young girl shoe. And as it the part that just puzzles me about the whole thing is, why is the shoe standing? Because it's not being held up by anything around it. It is literally propped up out of some phenomenal, some crazy sci-fi, like what is that stuff, poltergeist type manner. Okay, basically it's just sitting there on its heel, propped up. Let me actually get a shoe. Like literally my slipper is sitting just like this. Okay, nothing behind it and nothing around it. Drives me nuts because I, for the love of me, do not understand why the shoe is sitting this way. So that's the first thing that I noticed when I was watching the movie. And then of course I had to take time of how long this scene takes place. I'm trying not to give too many spoilers, so if you still haven't seen it, but because we don't get too much of it in this, but it will be a later on a flashback scene later in the movie to where we get more of it. So of course it draws and sucks you right into the movie, like what the heck is going on, because you just do not know how we are here with this bloody chimpanzee, this phenomenal being of a shoe that is sitting here with one blood stain on it. And you know, it's crazy, it's weird or whatever, but it took that scene took 6 minutes and 13 seconds, not literally in the movie, but the events took that place in that matter of time. So after that we get into the opening of our main antagonist up into the I mean, not antagonist, but protagonist is up in the movie, which is OJ, played by Daniel Kaluuya. OJ Haywood is the son of Keith Davis, who is Otis Sr. OJ is Jr. Of course, his name is OJ. So, of course, we'll relate, being that everything is a spectacle, we relate that to it. Oh, sorry. Let me rewind myself real quick because I'm a little excited about talking about this. I wrote here, if you can see, is not of our perceived expectations. I know everybody's like, not of our planet, none of these things like that. But when you actually see the movie, I wrote it this way because when we think of alien movies, we always have this perceived notion of what the aliens are, how they come, how they look, why they are the way they are. And so this particular movie literally erases all expectations that you had when you go see it. And I think that's why so many people are disappointed in the film, those that are disappointed and are not totally getting it, because in our minds, we already have what we have known our aliens to look like, our aliens to act like, our aliens to be the usual beam you up, probe you, send you back to Earth, and leave you for everybody else to try to figure out if you're telling the truth or not. This is not it. Okay. Jordan totally pushed the box limit on this one. And I loved it. I love to think that the alien is or organic being of its own. The spaceship is an organic being of its own. I love that. And like I said, I'm going ahead now. Let me jump back up to where I was. So of course we're back to Haywood Ranch. We meet Daniel and his father. Like I said, his father is on the horse that they have titled later on, that we'll find out is named Ghost. I hope I got the tails right because I had to look at. There's another white horse, so I have to look at the. When I watch it again, I'll correct myself if I'm wrong. But I believe he is on Ghost at the particular time. Yes, exactly, Mimi. They're among us. There's not definitely that. It's definitely not that, and it's definitely not like Signs. Okay, this is definitely a different type of alien, and I love it. Um, things go silent, and you know that eerie feeling that we all watched in a trailer. That little like when it's got the music playing and it's jamming, and then everything goes silent, and you get this weird noise. This takes place right here. Things started to fly out the sky like it's hail, so that's what I automatically assumed. Of course, my expectation goes when things start falling to the ground really hard, it's hail. Of course, the father gets struck, which he falls off the horse. He goes to the hospital, finds out that there's a nickel lodged into his skull. That is what kills him. Crazy. We get back, there's a whole bunch of different pieces and stuff, and we'll title why all of these pieces are a thing when we go forward. There's a whole bunch of pieces that fall out of the sky, random pieces that belong to nothing but us humans. Why? We do not know at this point. But we'll find out later. One is a key that is lodged into the horse. Of course, that is an Easter egg for what to is come. Have a key into the horse. Horses are kind of like the key to this whole movie. Get the opening credits. Opening credits are not usual open credits. It's like, Star Wars opening credits a little bit. Everything scrolls up. I mean, well, it doesn't scroll up, but it's in how Star Wars kind of open their credits out in space. Find out these opening credits are within something. I won't reveal what that something is. I'll let you guys figure it out when you watch it, because you guys might pay more attention to it than I did at the first time. But hopefully you guys understand these opening credits when they come through. And excuse me if I'm talking kind of fast, because it's a lot to go through and I'm trying to get through it so I can get to some points. And I don't want to have you get here all day, especially if a lot of you guys have not seen it. Then we won't have the back and forth dialogue like I like to have. Yes, definitely was suspense, Mimi, like you said, a little bit of horror, and it's not too scary. It's not actually, to be honest. Okay, so if you guys are one of those people, I like scary stuff. I like things to jump out at me or whatnot. I do appreciate those movies, but this is not that type of horror. This is more of a thought-provoking horror. I rate this along the lines of Fallen. If you ever seen Fallen with Denzel Washington, I had another movie in mind where I put this. I had kind of forgot where it is now, but Fallen is one of the movies. Fallen is a movie that scares me. And I'm not really scared by paranormal activity and all that stuff like that. I don't play with demons like that, but Fallen was a different type of paranormal activity. It's the ability of I'll go into a little back history of that one, of a alien, a fallen alien. I mean, not alien, a fallen angel who has the ability to body jump. And when he body jumps, that a person doesn't know what's happened to them during that course that the angel is in them. So for me, that is more scary, like not knowing. And this was kind of like that, not knowing what this is, not knowing what it does, not knowing anything about it. That was the type of scary this was. There are some jumping points in the movie that come out, but not too many that it just have you just like, I can't watch this at all. It's not a Freddy Krueger. It's not a Jason Knight. It's not a Michael Myers type anything. So if you're not a big horror that you can't stand too much blood, you can't stand too much gore, you don't like things popping out at you, this is a movie that you can go see. You can go and you will enjoy. It's horror on a different level. Okay. And you're right, Monique. I agree with you. There's nothing worse than humans. And technically, this is what the horror is about, us. Okay. No pun and no pun intended, right? It is about us as humans. That's what the underlining message is in the whole thing. Granted, we're using what we'll later know as the viewers as the darker side of us as humans, our humanity or whatever, the viewers is that we are the viewers. Okay. Hollywood is part of the viewers. Life society that we live in now is part of the viewers. And that was a lot of the message that I got out of this movie, is how we make spectacles out of a lot of things. And like, just like the opening scene, I'll tell you why that was such an important part to the whole movie, because where a lot of people might have said it didn't understand how it tied into a movie, it definitely ties in as we get further into it. um so after the father dies, it's about 6 months later, OJ has his first gig. He's on the set. And so when we watch a trailer, that's the set that you guys notice that they're on. They're giving the break when Emerald comes down, and that's Kiki Palmer's character, Emerald. That's when she comes in. She starts giving the breakdown of her great 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 grandfather. Or was it four greats? I forget now. Great 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 grandfather. Um, that's when she gives the breakdown of how the first movie production was invented, and that's where you get that classic line, "We have skin in the game." And so I had to do a little research. Of course, there's a couple of books and there's a couple of movies out that is called Skin in the Game and whatnot. Most of the books that are out are about investments. And so I took that route on that term about ownership and investments. So there's two things there. Of course, that them being like having their grandfather as the first rider on the horse of the first cinematography ever invented. That means there's a little bit of ownership there. And her ownership in this moment is having this legacy, her family legacy, be a part of the industry moving forward, so to speak. Then you have the ownership of course, getting the best footage, the footage of this so-called UFO or UPA. Uh, UPA, I think it is. I always get it backwards. UAP or UPA. UAP. Unidentified. Freak, I forgot what the U them letters is for. But UFO. They get that footage. That's ownership that they wanted for that. Of course, the ownership of their property, which is why we're here on this set now 6 months later, because over this time their dad has left them in debt, and they have to do what they do best, which is OJ be on set with the horses and bring them down. But when we first meet the two characters, of course, there's this disruption between the two. Apparently, that Emerald has not been living with the family for some time now, so she has not really been working with them. And OJ is an introvert, a big introvert. He's not like, I just, could socialize with people. You can tell that he's been living on the farm, only working with the horses, because that's where his mind is. He doesn't do anything. He doesn't seem to have many friends or anything. So no, I know what the UFO is, the foreign object, but they use another term, UAP, and I forget what those letters, the AP stands for in that. I heard somebody bring it up before, but I'm not familiar with that term, and that's a different term, I guess, that the government uses. And they use that term in the movie, actually, the UAP term in the movie instead of UFO. When it's not really a flying object. So this thing is not totally a flying object either. Even though it does fly, it's not what we consider a UFO. But as I was saying, the skin in the game is the ownership aspect. The siblings have not been really close as they've gotten older. Emerald has been off somewhere else, and so she kind of arrives to set late, where you get most of OJ's personality is very introverted, not very socialized being. He can't speak to others very well. He's always got his head down mannerisms. So he's one of those, what we would call in the industry, put your head down and do your job type people. He doesn't give much pushback. They speak to him kind of any type of way, as if he's a lesser being, almost as if he's invisible. That's how they kind of treat him in the beginning. And you notice this dynamic of hierarchy when it comes to how they feel about certain things on set. And I've worked on sets before, and I looked at, let me rant. When you're on set and when you're working in certain industries or whatnot, there's kind of this pyramid hierarchy of things. So how they treat it, and you notice this as soon as this come in. Her name is where's the actress name? Bonnie Clayton. She's the actress that's on set for this time. And there's this hierarchy. When she walks in, everybody has to stop and applaud for her. Yet the horse trainer, the horse, guardian, the protector, whatever, the DP, the background people, all of these people get no acknowledgement. They get no praise. They get nothing. They're treated like ish. Okay. And if you ever worked on set before, you kind of, sometimes depending on who set it is, you feel that, where you make the scene more realistic, you're nothing. You're a prop, and you get that, like, without the background, it's just an empty scene. It's just two people on stage or whatnot. But when you start getting people interacting and people walking here, now it makes the scene more realistic. It makes it look like we're really in New York. We're really in LA. We're really here, there, everywhere. And that's what we bring to the table. Just like when you're at a job, it's the boss who makes all the money. He gets all the praises, yet it's all the little people who put him in place or keep his ship going that makes the difference. Yet we mean the least, So that's where you start to notice the dynamic and how OJ is with a lot of things. He prefers that he just talks to the animals. It's just him, he tries to give off the rules, but nobody really listens to what he says. And Kiki comes in, she gives their spiel or whatnot. She does her things, but even still, she's not focused on the job so much that she leaves OJ to do on his own after she says what she has to say. And he's there, yet nobody pays attention with him. Things transpire, they get kicked off set. So they lose their first gig. We also meet what is Michael Wincock's character, Antler Holtz, in this particular thing, because he is on set. He is actually the cinematographer for the set that day. He's more than likely the cameraman as well. We kind of get a brief meeting of him and a little bit of his personality, which is very dry, extremely over it, not excited about things. And that's kind of like, if you worked in the industry long enough, you'll run across a lot of people that it's like this after a while, when it's no longer them doing what they feel is their passion. It's just a job. They get it up, they get over it. All the glitz and the glamour of it is all gone. And you get an Antler Holtz. After that, we have OJ and them. They're driving home. They have a little discussion there. We won't go into all of that detail. We get into our next character, which is Stephen Yen's character, Ricky Parks, aka Jupe. And so he's the owner of Jupiter's Claim. And he is also the young man that was in the original scene in the very beginning that you don't totally get to see because we're seeing through his lens. But he's inside of the studio where Gordy's home has taken place. So he's where everything has taken place, where he had witnessed the altercation with Gordy and the rest of his cast members. Jupiter is running the park. He has different things that he's done in the industry, and OJ is there to sell him Lucky, which was the horse that was on set with him. He is saying that Lucky kind of act out. He's like being disobedient, which the case was. Lucky was being an animal, and those people were acting out that caused the thing to transpire on set. Lucky is going to be sold to Jupiter. For what reason? They have a small discussion. And so this part right here, I'm going to highlight this part of the discussion that is talked about right here, because what is said is here is prominent to what happens later on in life uh, during this movie. Thank you. That's what it is. Unidentified aerial phenomena. That's exactly what it is. Unit alcohol prevention. You so silly, made me know. But yeah, okay, that's exactly what it is. So you got it. That's what it was. I cannot remember it for the love of me, but thank you so much. Um, so of course, I forget to mention Emerald's character. She's more outgoing than OJ. So she's talkative. She's a constant talker. She's always in something, always doing something. She's the animated one of the bunch. Um, she goes with him after he refused for her to come up to have this meeting with Jupe. So she goes up to the meeting with him and becomes somewhat of a distraction from what really goes on. So as OJ is saying, hey, I'm going to sell you Lucky, but I want to make a payment plan to try to buy back all of my horses that I already sold you, because we at this point find out that he sold 10 horses already to Jupe. He wants to try to buy them back. And Lucky, to me, I believe, is his favorite horse, of course. So selling Lucky is really not what he wants to do at this point, but he kind of needs money. Jupe kind of makes them an offer to sell the whole horse stable to them because they do have a lot more horses. He wants to buy it from them, and they're starting to negotiate, and then Emerald comes in and kind of distracts from everything. So here we find out that Jupe has kept a lot of the props from the set that he was seeing this whole massacre go down at, right? Where everything, the shoe, that puzzling shoe, the shirt that the chimpanzee had wore that day on set, and like a whole bunch of different things that were on set from that event. Now, to scale back, this is kind of like when we start to get some of the flashbacks on what happened that day on set. So there was a show called Gordy's Home where the chimpanzee was named Gordy, and he had been taken into a home with, now this is the part that I've never heard anybody else mention, which is a part for me. He's taken into a white home where it is, of course, the dad, the mom, and the little girl, and then Jupe. And I say it like that because Jupe is clearly Asian, okay? And this is not his biological family. So not only is Gordy taken into this home, somehow during this whole show, Jupe is taken to the home. Now, this I would love to explore more of how do we even get to this show, but because it's not the movie, I guess we may never know unless Jordan Peele decides to tell us or whatever. But there's a bond that is there because he goes on to explain that how him and Gordy had made the first fist bump. Now, any normal person in this moment right now will be going, oh my gosh, you were that kid in that tragedy. Wow, what the hell? Like this, right? He would probably even be like, man, that was a crazy day. That just, I don't know what happened. It was a lot going on. It was to see this as a kid. This was a lot. You would think there would be a lot of trauma in this moment. However, there is no trauma coming off of Jupe at all. He is actually capitalizing off of that tragedy because he even says that somebody wanted to rent out his place just to stay in that room with all of those memorabilia for the night. And they paid a handsome ransom for that. So I'm just like, okay, so not only have other people profited off of your tragedy, now you're profiting off of your own tragedy, as well as I was going with my trauma part, as well as shoes. I done lost my whole daggone thought on that. Damn it, I hate. Not only is he I know where I was going. Not only does he capitalize off of this or whatever, the sad part is how I believe different events that taken place in his life has got him to this point of saying, let me capitalize off of this myself. He even make a Saturday Night Live reference up into the thing, which Easter egg. If you guys know Jordan Peele's record, Jordan Peele tried to audition him and Michael Keaton tried to audition for him Saturday Night Live, and they didn't get hired, and ended up at Mad TV, which he had another Easter egg up in there. I don't know if any of you guys seen it. But if you are a Mad TV fan like I was, you would know that the monkey that is on the cover of Mad TV, the magazines and whatnot, that was also shown in there in the room. There's a monkey that had like the same Mad TV logo style, and they try to play it up as Gordy's home so you don't kind of recognize it. But I know my Mad TV stuff, okay? But Saturday Night Live capitalized off of him. He even laughs and said how great that was of a scene that they did recapping the chimpanzee beating his co-stars up to death, basically. And it's just like so much trauma that is just bottled up and consumed into let's make a profit. And so, of course, I'm going to do another breakdown of that part. So it's a lot shorter. So we just talk specifically on Jupe and that trauma that is in there and what leads him to do the things that he does later on. Crazy stuff, a whole lot right there. So that's why I said the artistry of this whole movie together is just, it's amazing because it's just so many different talking parts that we just could pull out and dissect in pieces in here and there. But they all did, to me, tie in. And I'll show you how I tied my laces later. Some people don't tie theirs. They use Velcro. Okay. But I tied my laces and I'll show you how I get there. So, Jupe tries to take away from the fact that he ain't really got the horses no more. We'll get into why he ain't got the horses no more. But so we'll go on to that. So the first thing we go to is a cut scene, and it goes to ghosts. So the movie is eventually broke down into chapters. And so the chapters are based off of each of the animals. They're not based off of people names. They're all the animal names, particularly the 4 horses names. And then there's Gordy. So all animals. So just keep that in mind as you're going through this. Everything is about really the animal side of life. In this section right here, Emerald and OJ reminisce on a childhood horse, which was named Jean Jacket. The ghost was the horse that the father was riding. He's in the arena where they first opened the scene in the trailer. OJ goes out to talk to him. M starts playing the music, and it distracts OJ when the music kicks in, and he turns away from Ghost and whatnot. And Ghost jumps the fence, just literally jumps out the arena, like what the heck or whatever. OJ tries to run off to go find Ghost. Then something kicks off the power. We get that strange noise. There's no Ghost. Then OJ realized he's seen something flying through the clouds. Heart pounding, whatever. All of us is in there like, what the frick? They said he goes, but this is the weird. I love Black people. I love us. We don't start freaking out. We don't start running. He just kind of like politely walks back into the house and sits there with M. It's just like, I think I just seen a UFO. Is she like, where we about to catch that on camera? Like, what? Black people don't do this in real life. We ain't trying to catch nothing on camera, but a fight. Okay. Keep that in mind. So they go to Fry's. They meet up with, you feel me? They go to Fry's. They meet up with Angel, who is Brandon Pria's character at Fry's. He works at Fry's as a tech team. They don't really tell him they're buying cameras. He's sitting here. He's so, geeky or whatever, that he's like, the cameras that you're buying is such and such. You're going to need some people to install it. They like, no, we got it. They say, no, he's installing the cameras, telling them all about his personal life. Now, here's where his personal life, his life connects to it. I know a lot of people say his life don't connect to it, but his life connects to it. like this. He tells a story about his girlfriend who has just broken up with him, and this is kind of like why he's looking for things to do to occupy his time, is because she had just got a role on the CW, and she is off to Hollywood to go get her big break. Once again, people are being left behind, and this because Hollywood is taking over their lives. Connections. Okay. Next chapter we're going to is Clover. Clover is a different horse. And this is where I say I'm not sure if it's Ghost or it's Clover, because Clover is also a white horse, but it has a black tail. So they tried to make a fake decoy at this point, which is she I don't want to say how they get this fake decoys because I want you guys to go see the movie. So they get a fake decoy. They go, they prop the decoy up. The kids play a prank on. Well, let me scoot back. They prop the decoy up in the middle yards. They're hoping to catch this alien on camera at this point. By now, they got the camera set up. They ready to go in. They're hoping to catch the alien on camera. And things starts to take place where all of a sudden Clover is out. They don't know how Clover got out the barn. They don't know what let Clover loose. OJ goes to investigate while Emerald keeps watch of the cameras. Now, as this is all going on, a praying mantis decides that he wants to pop his face in the cameras. And of course, when you see a praying mantis up close, we get our usual depiction of what an alien looks like. Because of course, we always make aliens after things we already know. So we got the alien looking like a praying mantis. The praying mantis looking like an alien all up and through the camera. So they having like a little moment like, oh my God, there's something on the camera. At this point, Angel is sitting here phoning up to Emerald like there's something on your camera. Boy, you over here doing some daggone hacking and looking into people's stuff. Boy, you can go to jail for these things, okay? But neither here nor there. Angel is like, you got to get it off the camera, whatever it is, you got to get it off the camera. At this time, OJ's in the yard. He's trying to figure out why this lights come on and music is playing and all of these things and how the heck Clover got out. So he goes, clicks off the light. He's walking back, light clicks back on. You know, a typical Black person is like, oh, hell no. No. I am out this thing. I am running. I am not trying to see what the hell going on. So technically, that's the reaction OJ gives. He's like, nope. So he goes, he tries to turn around and he sees this alien type thing starting to move. So he's like, not gonna do it. He pulls out his phone. Oh, second spoiler, Easter egg thing. This is late 2000s. OJ is like probably one of the only people who has not updated his phone in so long, and he still has a flip phone. Now, mind you, in hindsight, I would still have a flip phone right now too, because sometimes these little things that is on this data, that analog flip phone still work best. So in emergency purposes, when I need to call somebody, I wish I still had a flip phone. Okay, but that's neither here nor there. But that is an Easter egg to remember of how things transpire later on. Not necessarily with the phone thing, but why some things still work better than the newer technology that we have now. So we get a first fake encounter of aliens because find out this is just a prank on Jupiter's Claims Jupe's kids from I guess possibly how they got their decoy. This is just a prank from the kids or whatnot. So find out they're not even real aliens, but one of them gets sucker punched. So they're gonna learn from playing with Black people that way, okay? Because Black people will fight or flight. Generally we're gonna fight, okay? If something gonna get hit, and I'll be telling the people that every time I go to Not Scary Farm or something like that, don't jump out at me too much, okay? You jump out at me, I might swing. That's what happened with one of these kids. They got punched on, but I'm glad they took it in good spirit and didn't go sit here and try to call the authorities for them being on somebody else's property, okay? Child, listen, tell them if they ever want to sell it, let me get it. Shoot, I'll take it, Mimi. I'll add it on there. I'll add me a new phone line just to have it. But so this is where we get the learn the terminology, the UPA, because of course, my little nerd geek, comes back and he starts telling him about what the government says about UPAs and uh, UAPs, and all these things. So of course, Emerald gets the bright idea. Sorry, I got to put my plug charger in. Emerald gets the bright idea about calling Hoist up, which is the cinematographer from the commercial that they were shooting in the beginning of the movie. Hoist, we find him. He's the filmmaker editing animal animal videos. So a lot of the animal videos that he is editing are either reptiles. He's got close-up shots of the eyes. He's got snakes eating lions and tigers and things. And I watch a lot of these videos on YouTube, so some of them that I have recognized, and I've had my own connection to why those were put into the movie itself. Um, okay, why those were put into the movies itself, as to make it more important or whatnot. But he also denies them at this point of working with them, because she's like, "Oh, I'm gonna do a reality TV." He's like, "Reality TV? Oh no, that's not what I do." Um, he doesn't want to have no parts of that. So she's like, they sorry, OJ and her start arguing a little bit, and y'all gotta remember, I'm going off of a 1 week old memory, so if I'm kind of like hesitant, and I do apologize, y'all just bear with me, okay? I'm going off a 1 week old memory. OJ and her starts going a little bickering back and forth, so she finally says that it's a documentary type thing, and he gives her a little line that is very pivotal in the movie. He tells her that dream that you're chasing to the top of the thing, this is a dream that you'll never wake up for. She kind of like, what the freak does that mean? Because of course she's just like, I'm trying to capitalize and save our ranch at the same time on getting this footage of this alien. um and forget to tell you, part of the reason that they didn't get the footage of the alien, of course, because it's that little the praying mantis was on the thing, and so by the time she ran out there to try to kick it off, they missed everything at that point. And of course they lost. I was kind of getting sad. They lost Clover. Okay, they lost Clover. They lost a whole nother animal. I was getting sad. I was gonna call Peter about this movie because all these horses getting lost up in it. I couldn't take it anymore. Okay, I'm an animal person, and I just couldn't take all these horses dying up in this daggone movie. But if anything, it was a horror because all the animals died. Shoes. No, just playing. But so what I was saying, that Michael Hoist he denies them going with them to taking them up on their offer as far as filming this documentary, this trying to catch the alien. He is not caring. So Angel rushes over to the house because he's been watching this film. He's, for whatever reason, he is still stalking these people. And this is probably why his girlfriend decided to go ahead and go to Hollywood, because he a little clingy. Like, bruh, come on now. But he was fun. He was fun comedy up in the movie. And I'm not going to lie, I enjoyed him. I enjoyed everybody in this movie. But he runs over because he noticed there's a cloud that is not moving on camera. It hasn't moved in some days. He's been watching the camera and it hasn't moved. And then we get to Gordy, chapter Gordy. So Gordy's scene, I'm not going to really tell you too much on that scene. They are some of the most peaceful animal and the most powerful animals at that, and they don't get as much respect as they deserve for being such a powerful animal. And I like that you put that there. I also know I was watching something else. I don't know if you guys watched The Man That Fell to Earth. Very good, very good. If you haven't watched it yet, I think you guys should check it out. It is on Showtime, but I watch it on Prime. But definitely watch that. And in there, they made a reference to the horse, about one of the horses, And he said, the day that she'll realize the day that the horse remembers who she is, she'll remember that she can kill him, which they were talking about a man. So just to show how powerful the horse is, and also how horses don't get as much respect as they deserve. They're just considered animals, mindless beasts, as like some people like to say that, are just good for working uh, on different things. Oh yeah, it's a really good show, Mimi, if you watched it. A little bit confusing like this. A lot of people say my dad has tried to watch it and he got confused because it does time jump quite a bit. And when I say time jump, it just goes from present day back to a certain point back later on and stuff. So you got to kind of really pay attention to it. Really good though, really good show. However, I don't want to spoil too much of Gordy's home situation. I'll just say that much like what Daniel Kaluuya's character OJ was saying in the beginning, when it comes to the rules of the horse, they didn't have much trainers on set, meaning that they didn't respect the nature of this animal, which is a chimpanzee, that they just felt like the ownership of being man and being in owner of in own of animals, in guardianship of animals, in hierarchy of animals, that they just feel like an animal is just going to obey at will. We just lose all sense of ourself and our place. A lot of times we don't even respect ourselves that much, that we don't have enough respect of nature around us. And I'm just going to sum this part up because I do, like if you said, if you haven't watched it, when I do more breakdowns, I'll go into each chapter's breakdown a little bit more specific on the characters. But when you watch this part, what I want you to kind of get out of it is understanding the nature of an animal in situations. And though it's a very gruesome part and it's a very horrific thing that happens to these people, it's what happens when you do not respect the rules of nature. You want to pretend like things are okay, and then when chaos erupts, it is the animal's fault. And that's pretty much how this goes. But the one thing that I will mention at this, the reason why Ricky does survive this encounter with the animal, and I have two different reasons, and they both can be true at the same time. One is because he didn't make direct eye contact with the chimpanzee in this moment. And I can't say that anybody else did. This is what speculations are saying, that because when you watch the whole movie, you'll understand that a lot of it is about the eye contact of it all. But because he didn't make eye contact with the chimpanzee, this is one of the reasons that he survived. He witnessed everything through a veil tablecloth that he was sitting under as everything was going on. The chimpanzee does eventually see him. And that's where you get that scene of the two fist bumps coming together, because that was a bloody monkey paw. And that's Ricky's paw going, giving the exploding fist bump. But just because he didn't make direct eye contact, I don't technically feel like that's the only reason why he survived. Like I said before, in the beginning, this is a alien type kid. He's not a white, he's not a Caucasian, he's not a person of no colors child. He is of Asian descent in this home, just much like Gordy the ape. And like I said, a lot of times we don't want to respect the nature and the mental capability of animals, but a lot of animals are very smart. And if scientists like to compare us to chimpanzees as evolving from them, evolving from monkeys, why wouldn't we not think that monkeys, chimpanzees, gorillas, all of these species have some type of thinking capability that is amongst ours? If you watch ants, to be honest, ants is like one of the smartest species of the earth. There's a lot of them that are very intelligent species. They just don't communicate the way that we do. Does not mean that they're less intelligent at anything. And so for me, I assume that Gordy felt the connection of being an outsider much like Jupe in this whole situation. Because when you look at it, a lot of times different people of no color tend to use other nationalities as accessories. You know, they want to adopt a little African baby, or want to adopt this Asian kid or whatever, and take them away from their natural home. And in the same regard, they do these with we do this with animals, and wild animals, not domesticated more so, but we do these with these particular type animals, take them from their natural homes and try to say, oh, we're giving them a better life by bringing them with us, you know. And some cases, you know, it's okay, but I don't have totally nothing against it. But if it's just for an accessory purpose, just for look what I did purpose, oh, you know, I just want to adopt, you know, this little starving homeless baby that's not really starving homeless. I really just took it from its mother. You know, that's where I got with it. And I felt that that was a connection between Gordy and Jupe, that Gordy understand that you're not like these. You're not the same as these people. Granted, you're on stage acting with them or whatnot, but there's something about you that is different like me. And so that's just me going deep and being my little analytical, off the wall, jumping off the edge, as they like to say, self. But that's where I took that a little bit more, is just that he didn't fit in like I didn't fit in. So we have a bond there. And unfortunately, like I said, instead of the people getting blamed for not having proper staff on, handlers for the monkey, the chimpanzee and stuff, he goes loses it over natural instinct cues, loses it, starts tearing up everybody on set, and eventually he gets killed. So unfortunately for Gordy, tragic ending more so than anybody. So we get down to our last two chapters. The one is Lucky. So we have the lasso experience where we get back to Jupe, and Jupe is getting ready to set up his show. Find out that he's been practicing this show for the last 6 months. Interesting enough, for as long as since the father has been struck by a nickel and has died. And once again, for anything to have shoot out a nickel that hard, for it to strike you and lodge all the way into your head and kill you, that thing has to have some daggone power. I'll just put that out there. He calls the alien ship the viewers. And he says this thing that he's been out here doing this for 6 months now. So, of course, this is where I said he already knew he can't sell back the horses, because he's been sacrificing these horses to this thing for the last 6 months. My only puzzling part, I'll finish telling this part before I get to the puzzling part. So he's out here getting ready to do the spectacle. This is where we see Lucky that was in the box in the trailer. The alien decides that he's going to interrupt his show. The one thing I will spoil for you guys, the thing that we saw that Veils lifts up, and when he's having this show, that is actually his co-star who was beaten. And I believe it's her shoe that is standing, puzzling the hell out of me still. Okay, I'm trying to figure out why the shoe is standing. But that is her. She was beaten basically to the inch of her life. They don't really go into it, but you can tell by her face that they don't show it in the Gordy scene, but you can hear that it sounds like he like bites off parts of her. So I assume because of how the jaw and everything is, he must have bit off like parts of her face or whatnot. So this is her. She stands up. She's in a wheelchair, but she stands up and all this stuff. Alien comes. Now, Jupe has been doing this for 6 months. The alien ain't never snatched him up, okay? Ain't never snatched him up. I ain't gonna say it ain't snatched nobody else up, but it ain't never snatched Jupe up, because, and hear me out on my theory on why he has never snatched him up. Once again, animals have a thing of respect. When you look at an eye, there's videos on people who encounter silverbacks, and the silverback does not feel threatened unless it's looked in the eye. We know with horses on set that you shouldn't stare it in the eye. It kind of makes them frigidity or whatnot, and they act out. There's certain type of dogs like bull mastiffs and stuff. When they're in protection mode, you do not look the dog into the eye. You try not to stand over it if you cannot or whatnot. Um, there's a lot of little rules that you have when you're counting certain animals, but one major rule is generally do not look the animal in the eye, because when you do so, it becomes like a threat. It's a challenge to that animal. And in this moment, everybody decides to look up. And as you looked up, the viewers, as Jupe like to call them, don't like that. They don't like you looking up at them. They don't like you challenging them. They don't want you to see them. You're not supposed to. And so everybody gets sucked up. Sorry, ruin that part for y'all, but they get sucked up. But as they get sucked up, interesting things happen. I will not ruin that part for you. It is very cool to find out that the ship itself is the living organism. And this is really how you find out that it is that. Okay. So for whatever reason, if it's not biodegradable, this thing does not like it and it spits it out. However, this particular time is where we also get that scene from the trailer where it's raining, and wherever it is that this ship is, it's big enough to cover the rain in a large enough space that it can block the rain from you. It is raining. I won't ruin all of that scene for you, but no, I'm not going to even say what happens right there because I don't want to ruin it all for you guys, because I know some of you guys still haven't seen it yet. I just don't know how. But I'm going to do small spoilers. I'm going to do pre-recorded small spoilers so you guys don't have to click on it. You don't have to participate. But it covers the house with pretty much anything that wasn't biodegradable that it could not consume. So that means, once again, the keys, purses, wallet, the wheelchair, all of these things is left on the house. The only thing I could not understand, because it has never done it before, and so I'm assuming that this is a marking of territory type thing, is when it releases all the blood on the house. Because generally it has not, least that we know of, has done this throughout the whole movie. Even before, when it spit out the other keys and money and change, all this stuff like that, it didn't drop any blood at that time. So I would assume that in this moment that the whole pouring of blood down on the house is it marking its territory, like any other wild animal or nature of any animal would do. It's marking its territory in this part. Now, earlier in the movie, when I said that Emerald and OJ were having their talk about reminiscing on the past. In that talk, when they were reminiscing on the past, they brought up the fact that few things that more Easter eggs that had come up into the movie that happened, that Emerald was given a horse named Jean Jacket. Jean Jacket was supposed to be her horse to train, and the dad had ended up getting a movie role to train the Jean Jacket for. And so instead of her training Jean Jacket, it was OJ that got to do it. And so she was kind of like a little perturbed about that situation, because that was for her to train. And she said not once did her dad look up at her. Not once did he even acknowledge that he took her horse and gave it to somebody else to train. On top of it, didn't even let her train it. The only person that looked up at her and did anything, made any acknowledgement, was her brother. And so that did show their bit of closeness, even though there was a little bit resentment there. The resentment not necessarily was placed upon him, but more so on the dad. But it did hurt her a bit that it was him that got to go to the movie set with the dad to do it, that trained her horse and everything. And to find out all of it went down, it was supposed to be for the Scorpion King, and they didn't even use the horse. They used camels instead. So it was a funny coincidence that, OJ is just like, oh, well, shoot, we went to the daggone place and then they didn't even use us. Like, they had us do all this training and we didn't get to do it. So it's one of these things like, you just took my horse, though. Like, saying I could have had this go on. So eventually we get to chapter Jean Jacket. They had named the named the alien Jean Jacket, and by this time the decoy that they made, Jean Jacket was not happy about it. And I think this is part of the reason he also marked his territory over their house, because they made a decoy, and I guess it kind of got stuck in Jean Jacket for a bit, and it might have. I just had an epiphany just now. It might have made Jean Jacket a little pissed off and a little perturbed, and that's possibly even why Jean Jacket decided to attack the people at the show, more so than the horse. I'll just put it like that, because I think he was a little pissed that that decoy was still stuck up in him, and that decoy actually belonged to Jupe's spot, so he's probably seen it there before, and so he probably was like, okay, you done sat here and pissed me off. I just thought about that just now. He probably like, okay, you play too much. You done sat here and put this fake thing up in me, and now I'm over here sick and stuff. I got you. A little payback. So I don't know how true that is. That might be. I just had that thought about it, but that's probably why he decided out of all these 6 months that he gonna decide have a taste for people again. Now, I ain't saying he ain't never had a taste for people before. I just don't know where the other people came from. Mind you, I don't know where these other people he done attacked before, unless, and I said it before, unless Jupe was just a sick individual and was capitalizing, which I don't put past why nobody else knew about this show that he kept putting on. But either he was a sick individual and he was out here sacrificing people on purpose. Now, the reason I don't put it past him, because he did invite OJ and Emerald to the lasso experience, the one that he had that he ended up sucking him up. He did invite them there, and it was after they stole his thing to make their decoy. So he could have possibly been trying to get OJ and them their property real easy by their default in death. And I don't put it past them. Okay, shoot. Like I said, sick thing. Hollywood is a sick place, and it make people turn people into the real sick place. Sick things if they just not well protected. So, so we get down to it. They got the blood all over the house. This is where, after the lasso experience had gone awry, they had it on the news about the people disappearing or whatever and stuff, and Antler has caught wind of it. So he decides that he wants to go ahead and investigate more into this project. In this part of the movie, this is the climax of the movie, so a lot of stuff started taking place. So I didn't really take much notes. So this is all memory right now. But Antler is now involved. He comes out. He has his non-digital cameras. They're old school cameras. You got to crank and yank these things. You got to do it by hand. It's like that rotary phone that you used to have back in the day, where you got to dial a number like this and do like that. The little Rolodex, all of those things that we used to have back in the day before we had this little technology called a phone that keeps everything on it, and we don't remember nobody number now. He had one of those. Okay. Antler was ready for the job, and he was going to do what he had to do. So he gets there. He's setting his stuff up. Angel, he ready to go. He ready to tag along and just do his thing. Now, Angel's been involved in crypto and doing some other stuff. So that led me believe this is a little later in the 2000s, closer to our time, closer to when before Fries decide to go down and be no more. And of course, they still had like iPhones and stuff. So that's why I was like, girl, I don't know how he still got an analog phone, but he must never left the horse ranch to update his service ever. Okay. Somehow he still had service though. He was good. Anyways, things start to kick up. They devise this whole plan because, of course, they made the decoy, and the decoy had what are those little flags, the colorful flag ribbons, you know, when you put up at parties, the little triangles, I forget what those are called. Um, and with the sky dancers are technically for them to know when the alien comes in, because of course anything that's power operated by electrical waves or electrical currents, it goes down. So as you go through this part, they put the sky dancers all up, line it all up, so they can kind of tell when the alien is coming, because the alien is smart enough to dip and dodge and hide behind the mountains. It moves fast enough that you can't totally keep track of it. And the best way to do so is to know, have a lot of technology. So, because whenever it gets really close into the area, it shuts everything down. I just had another epiphany too, but you know, I'm just gonna leave that to movie magic on why it didn't occur and some things. But I'm assuming that they have everything far enough from the house. Nope, still don't make sense. Okay, never mind. I'm gonna leave it at movie magic. We just not gonna overthink that part. You know, some things might have got cut out in editing. Who knows? Anyways, they got the sky dancers up. They're there in place so they can keep watch on how the alien is moving, which areas it's in, so they can try to keep track, so they can know where to record when they need to record, and so they don't want to waste too much of the film, because of course this is not digital. This is all on old school film, and you got to make sure you're catching it. And they want to kind of have the alien go at a certain path so they can make sure that it's in line to catch a good view of it. However, the alien is not stupid, and of course TMZ is on the case on why Jupe's claim has been hid, who has hid it, why they would have hid it, or whatever. And they're investigating nothing but the Haywood Ranch at the worst time ever. This TMZ guy decides that he wants to show up right now in the middle of all of this chaos when they're trying to catch this alien in the act in broad daylight. And in the midst of it, it just shows how us as humans is just trying to get the best footage, because he gets scared off, end up, like I said, the alien shuts down anything. So he's on the motorcycle. His motorcycle tends to shut off anything electrical, the cars, everything stops when this alien is around. So his motorcycle gets cut off, and him going 60 miles an hour, he ends up flipping off of it, breaking parts of his body. You can see that he's twisted up and contorted and all these things. He breaks parts of himself, and literally is still sitting here asking for his camera. And if we're getting a shot of him being all broken up and all of this stuff, it's like, dude, you can't even get up. And you're so worried about your camera, and did you get the good shot? Are you serious right now? Like, bruh. You know, so of course he gonna lose his life because he crazy anyway. Angel gets saved by Bob Wire and whatnot. We get the sacrifice from Antler, and I'll tell you what I think his sacrifice really is. There's this standoff, this showdown. It's an old Western type standoff between the alien and OJ, and of course, you know, it goes down at the end to where Emerald gets her money shot. Okay. Like I said, I don't want to ruin it too much for you guys, because I don't want to tell you too much, because I know some of you guys still haven't really watched it. I just give you like a brief overview. I'll just give you some stuff or whatever. I'm going to actually do some little breakdowns of each character and what they meant as far as the movie is concerned, and maybe like tie in a couple of characters as together. But definitely gonna do a breakdown of Jupe and Gordy, what they meant. Antler's breakdown on especially getting his final shot that he went for. And I know a lot of people believe that it was a waste of film and a waste of all of these other things, but I do have some thoughts and theories on that. Emerald and OJ, they're different ties, because there's different things. Like I'll say this little thing about Emerald and OJ. You know how we like to talk on our channel, how dynamics of behaviors are stemming from like childhood, past, and history and stuff. So I think a lot when you watch Emerald's behaviors. A lot of her behaviors, a lot of her mannerisms was her wanting to connect with her father. There's a lot of gay references in there, like, she likes women or whatever and stuff. A lot of the little mannerisms that she does. I believe because of that separation between how sometimes we treat our girls versus our boys, like he got to be out there with the horses while she had to stay inside or whatever. It made it seem like she was just too young. But usually on a farm or a ranch, when we're doing domesticated stuff on those things, doesn't really matter how young you are, you start to get into it then, especially when you're a boy. And so it kind of shows the dynamic that we tend to put between girls and boys when it comes to certain things. And I think a lot of her personality is built up on wanting to be close to her dad where she wasn't. So she started embodying a lot of his behaviors to the point that she even recites the sales pitch that she gives on set to the T, because of course she's another generation. That's why she forgets the great and how many great she's supposed to say, because she's repeating what her dad said. It's his great 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 grandfather, where there's an extra great in there for her. So I think that the love that she had for her father and wanting to connect with her father starts to convey out into how she behaves nowadays. And then with OJ, his detest for the whole industry, even to the point of him losing his father for basically a nickel, losing his father for the money. You can relate that like that. That's where he lost his dad. It was all over a nickel. And granted, it wasn't the literal sense that he was just working for that money, that he didn't get to spend time with his dad, but at the same token is the work that they did, him being out there during that day when these things happened, them kind of like getting ready to train the horse, or you just finished training the horse and it's a nickel that kills him. It's money that moves people, that end up getting a lot of these people killed. It's wanting to see the vision, wanting to see the thing, wanting to glorify the darkness, bring it to the light. It's all of these things that people as humans, we strive to do, that we die for. Wanting to make a spectacle of things. That's why I said, even with like the cameraman, the TMZ guy, I'll explain him real quick because he's not much of relevance. That's how we are today. That's how we are as a people. We would rather sit here and put things on World Star, or put it on IG Live, or put it on, some social media app, TikTok or whatever, instead of stepping in and helping people, or making sure we're out of harm's way. And if you ever took basic survival, like when you're going to save somebody, you take fire department classes, you take first aid classes, the first thing you're supposed to do is survey the surroundings to make sure you're okay, to make sure you're in a safe space before you can even save the person's life. However, nowadays, we don't even make sure that we're in a safe space before we start recording that person not in a safe space. We're not even worried about saving their lives. We're just so worried about recording, so we can have the first footage of it. We can see what happened, not even to make light of little Duvall's situation, but he's practically recording his whole injury that he just sustained. He was just in a motorcycle. Well, he was on his ATV and somebody hit him, and he's even in the hospital bed recording him getting a drill put into his leg. They drilling, like, I guess probably pins and nails into screws into his leg. This is where we're at right now as a society, that we're having to make spectacles out of tragedies. And so we'll talk more about, those main characters and their traumas, and how their traumas manifest into trying to make a buck, and how much trying to make a buck in those situations can possibly, be the death of you. So anyways, I hope you guys go see the movie. I'm going to go watch it again in IMAX. I'll have a more fresher view soon. If I missed anything, I will come back. I will talk to you guys about it. I'm definitely going to start dropping those in-depth reviews of each character, more breakdown. There's a couple of channels that I appreciated their breakdown. You guys go check them out too. I'll probably put them in the description box that I've seen there. Some of them have uh, very good breakdowns on it. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoy the movie like I did. I enjoyed it. I'll probably rank it number two because I still don't understand Us totally. Us was really good. I get this movie, I think, a little bit better than Us. So I would probably put it number two. Of course, Get Out is kind of hard to top that first high you get from something. So we're doing is chasing that Get Out high now. And I don't think we're going to get there anytime soon from Jordan Peele because unfortunately we expect something more from him. But I really do enjoy his vision on a lot of things. I also want to say that with a lot of the scoring and a lot of this thing, I know a lot of people like to put him with Spielberg and all those type of other directors. I personally, I don't really like comparing people like that, but if I had to totally compare, I would give him Quentin Tarantino type vision with a lot of this stuff. Um, there's a few things that are just like that Quentin Tarantino does that kind of like Jordan Peele in his own regards, his own rights. He does his own thing. Is the same. It's not the same thing, but he has his own style of doing things, and I like it. As far as the score goes, the score is kind of Quentin Tarantino-ish. You kind of start liking the songs based on a movie, or you start getting scared of the songs based on a movie and stuff like that. They like to bring songs that we've had in our past up in there. All of the hidden gems that was in this movie, you guys would like to see it. I like the Monkey Paw. Of course, that's his production company called Monkey Paw. So whether he meant to or not, good plug. There's some other plugs that he put up in there, which is also Daniel Kaluuya is wearing a Jordan short, Jordan shirt at some point. So, he gets to throw his name in there a little bit. So I like that part of it. Um, there's of course the Easter eggs. Like I said, you'll get the analog phone, so that'll let you know that something with digital is not going to be right. The Scorpion King uh, sweater that he gets to put on later on, them titling Jean Jacket, and finally at the end, Emerald getting her chance to tame her own version of Jean Jacket, thanks to her brother. The ending, I'll definitely say that I know people say there's two different things on the ending. I like to believe what she's seen at the end is what she's seen, and that, you know, I put it like this, that her brother is there for real, but some people think he's not really there, and that it was just her imagination saying that, he didn't make it, but he's here with me. But I like to believe that because of the nature of the animal and the attraction of things moving, that he survived because the alien chased her. That's what I got from it. Could be wrong. Waiting for a part two of it to see if I'm wrong, because technically, I think there could be a part two. That there's one thing that doesn't happen for me to say that there's no part two, and that is because we live in a law of gravity. The alien should have fell at the end of the movie instead of deflating out like it did and still floating across the sky. So that leads me to believe that this thing is not technically dead. It probably like passed out or whatever the case may be, whatever. But I didn't get dead from it. I feel like it should have somehow fell to the ground. But again, that's my expectation of life. We expect things to go the way we know And because I know gravity works and it exists, I expected that thing to fall from the sky. So since it didn't fall to the sky, I feel like there's possibly a possible part two that can be in the works because of the ending itself. I like that. I like looking forward to what more he brings to this. Jordan Peele is an artist. Let's remember this. This is artistry at its finest. And what he gave us was a piece of work for us to talk about, to dissect, and give you our different perspectives on what we see out of it. So, like I said, whether you loved it, you hate it, we're going to talk about it, baby. Okay. We're going to talk about it. That's what we do here. And you know what? You guys leave me your comments, your likes, your if you disagree with something I said, you agree with something I said, go ahead and leave it below. If you've seen the movie, you loved it, let me know. If you've seen the movie, you didn't like it, let me know, and tell me what you loved or didn't like about it. If you didn't get some things, let me know down in the description box below. We'll talk about it. We'll chat about it some more. You guys look out for the rest of those videos that I will have coming out soon. Thank you guys for all being with me today. I hope you enjoyed this review. This is technically my very, very first recorded review. I am sorry it's so long. I had to get my thoughts from a week old all together. I'm going to get better over time. Please bear with me. But look, I made you guys art. You guys have a great Thursday. I love you all. You guys take care. Be safe out there. Don't do anything that I wouldn't do. And that ain't much. So you guys enjoy yourselves, okay? Stay blessed. Stay back. Stay whatever you is. Stay alien and stay floating. And bye.